Hey guys, welcome to my July TBR video. It's been a while, but we are gamifying things again this time. I used to do this all the time and then I needed a break. And now for this summer, oh, losing my voice, wow. For this summer, I really just want to enjoy my reading. And so I want to pick a bunch of books. I created my TBR cart a few videos back with books I would like to read this summer. I have a whole TBR shelf behind me with extra books that I can pick from if needed. I have a spinner wheel. I have a few books I kind of need to read this month, but pretty low key, and I'm excited about it. So we are going to build my TBR. As of right now, there is no consequences if I don't read all of the books that I pick. Maybe down the road I will do something different, and there will be, but right now if I need to DNF a book or don't get to some books, that's okay with me. Okay, I rearranged things so you could see more of the books properly. So I've created a spinner wheel for my TBR. There are 6 prompts on here that kind of will help pick my books. So we have an emoji. I got my patrons to give me a bunch of emojis and I need to read a book that somehow fits into that. Some of them are going to be easier than others. Some people were just trying to be, do I want to use the word mean? I'll say the word creative with some of their picks, that's for sure. So we've got emoji, we've got gifted. I have some books on here that have been gifted to me, some on my TBR shelf. Judge a book by its cover, because who doesn't love a pretty book? First sentence, which is when I'm going to read the first sentence of a few books and put the one that has the best first sentence on my TBR. A 5-star prediction. Pretty self-explanatory, a book that I think I'm going to give 5 stars, and a Patreon pick. So then they gave me a list of books from my TBR shelf and cart that they would like me to read. So before we go into the wheel, which we're going to do soon, there are a couple books that I need to read this month. So the first one is my Patreon pick for my patron of the month. So every month, one of my patron gets to be the patron of the month. There's some cool benefits. One of them is picking a book for me. And this month, she gave me a couple different options, but I went with Tex by S.E. Hinton. So she's the author of The Outsiders. This cover is very vintage, very, I think, spot on for the time. And I think this was, yeah, this one, it was also a movie. Apparently, like, all her books got made into movies. I read the back a while ago when I got it. Once again, like her other books, it's not very long, it's under 200 pages. The gist seems to be, you know, like general young teen boy kind of in the poor area of town, or I think this one he might live on a farm. Either way, they generally sound similar, so I'm curious to see what this one is all about. So this is the first book that's on my TBR for the month. The other book that I have to read is actually right here, and that is Nemesis by Agatha Christie. This one actually has Nemesis and The Mirror Cracked from Side to Side in here, but I'm just reading Nemesis because this is for my Windy Poplars tier over on Patreon. We are doing a book club where we read one Agatha Christie each month this year, and so now it's time for Nemesis. I was told that a Caribbean mystery needed to be read first, and I read that one a few months ago before Nemesis, so I think we've got a reoccurring character, and I believe this is a Miss Marple. Unfortunately with these kind of editions, I don't have any information, so I don't know anything really going in, but I've read a lot of Agatha Christie, loved a lot of what I've read, so I'll trust that this will be another good one. Maybe I'll just put my actual TBR books on the bottom shelf here, and then I'll take them off after, because this is Tolkien's shelf. This is where he sleeps like all the time. So I already have 2 books on there. There are some different challenges, like my Read Your Bookshelf challenge. This month we are merging again, where if you are on the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle side or the L.M. Montgomery side, doesn't matter which one, we are both reading a short story this month. I have a whole video explaining what that challenge is if you're confused. So I will be doing reading a short story collection, but I'm going to see if maybe it will come up somehow in the spinner wheel if there's like a certain one I need to pick. There's a few on here. I know I have a few more on my shelf, so I have to do that. It's also Jane Austen July. I'm still doing Tiffany's summer book bingo. There's a few different things. I'm gonna do the wheel a few times, see if we've hit any that can double up for what I pick here and other things I want to read. The wheel is ready to go, so I'm gonna tap. We'll see where we go from here. I do like the wheel. So it's just like, where's it gonna land? Okay, we are judging a book by its cover. There's so many ways a person can do this. There are a lot of pretty covers out there. I also like vintage covers, like kind of tacky, also draws me in. So, well, how can I do this here? There's also a couple books behind here that don't quite fit in, although I could probably squeeze one or two of them in here. Actually, this one I was gonna squeeze in. This is a pretty cover. I do like this. It's got a bit of an embroidered look to it. This is Jane Austen at Home, which would work well for Jane Austen July. This was definitely an option for me. Another cover that I'm always drawn to, I don't know how many times this has been on a TBR of mine, is My Name is Leon. I love the cover, never read it. You know what, maybe I will do these two. So this is historical about Jane Austen. I really enjoyed her Queen Victoria one I read in May, and then this is middle grade about a kid that's in foster care. So I'm gonna pull out a random number generator to make my decision for me so I don't have to make the decision myself. We're gonna put this down as number 1, this down as number 2, put them there for now. We will see what the random number generator gives us. Okay, numbers 1 and 2, generate 1. So Jane Austen at Home will be the book that is my judging a book by its cover, although that might come up again on the wheel. We'll just squeeze that in there. So this works out well for Jane Austen July. Oh, this font is small. That was unexpected. But this is something I can read to learn about Jane Austen. I think in the Queen Victoria one, Lucy Worsley, she used a set of days or certain days that changed Victoria's life. This, I don't know what approach she takes, but it doesn't seem like that same approach. So it'll be interesting to read how she's done Jane Austen's life, and hopefully it's not boring, because the other one I did not find boring. Judging a book by its cover, getting some Jane Austen July in there. So we're gonna spin again, but I'm not taking judge a book by its cover off unless it comes up twice. I think that's my plan. Okay, we'll call that technical difficulties if a 3-year-old counts as technical difficulties. She came in while it was spinning, but the verdict here is first sentence. So I need to judge some books by their first sentence. I think what I'd like to do, what makes the most sense, is to pick up some books that I'm excited to read their first sentence, and pick the best one. One that I wouldn't say I'm excited to read, so like going against what I just said right now already, but I know my daughter would appreciate if I would try is 5 Feet Apart. So I'm gonna try this first sentence. I bought myself a bunch of fantasy books for my birthday in May, and I would really like to read one of them. So I've got The Storyteller's Daughter. I'll read this first sentence, and one of these. 3 seems like enough. Let's try The Testimony of Bendigo Fletcher. If the first sentence of all of these is not good, then I'll try one more. So let's try 5 Feet Apart first. So I think this is a YA story about 2 people with cystic fibrosis, and that's why my daughter's interested. I traced the outline of my sister's drawing, lungs molded from a sea of flowers. That's okay. I like things to be a little bit more gripping. Sounds kind of cool, but not that great. The Testimony of Bendigo Fletcher. Now we're not going in order, but that's okay. No one knows where the Book of Prophecy came from. Also, all right, but not spectacular. The Storyteller's Daughter. If I could choose my gift, I'd want it to be practical, like making bread or shoes to provide for my struggling family. That's interesting. That's definitely the best. That's the best one. I'm gonna go with this one because it was definitely the best. If you could choose your gift, would you choose something practical? I don't know what the gift is yet in this story, but you know, if you could have some kind of power, would it be something practical like making bread? Or would it be something, I kind of always lean towards like teleportation. Can that be a gift? I'd really like that. it's making me think. That's good. We will put The Storyteller's Daughter on my list for July. Now hopefully we don't get interrupted again here. Once again, if that comes up a second time, then I'll take it off. Try again. Ooh, okay, 5-star prediction. So a book that I think is going to be 5 stars, which, looking at this here, it's interesting. I think a possibility is Monster by Frank Peretti, but I've already read this, and because I've loved a lot of Frank Peretti's other books, I don't remember loving this one, so maybe it's not a good prediction. If I were to take a guess, there's a couple options actually. So Ruta Sepetys, Out of the Easy, I think I've given all of her other books 5 stars, but I don't actually think I'm going to give this one 5 stars because this one was one of her earlier works and I think it'll be good, but I don't think it'll be 5 stars. The one that I think I would probably give 5 stars to is The Heir and the Spare. Interesting, I did not pick that one up before. I think I've only read 2 other Kate Stradling books and I definitely gave the one 5 stars, really enjoyed it. The other one I think was 4.5, maybe even 5, so odds are I would like another book by her. This is a fantasy story. I'm just realizing I never actually said anything about The Storyteller's Daughter. This is the thing, when I start gamifying things, I get all caught up in the game. This is a Rumpelstiltskin retelling of some sort, where, as long as anyone can remember, every child has been born with a gift and these gifts define them. Then Cosette is born giftless. Okay, that's what that one was. Now, this one is an evil princess, a ruthless persecutor, a wretched match. Tormented at home and bullied during her studies abroad, second-born Iona of Wesset hides in the quiet corners of her father's castle. Her art and music provide refuge, but her cruel sister ever lurks like a monster stalking its prey. Such has been her life for 20 years. However, a promise of reprieve and retribution arrives when the neighboring kingdom of Capria proposes an alliance between their new crown prince and Wessett's heir to the throne. So I'm just curious because I almost picked this up for the first sentence challenge. Just want to read the first sentence. Only 2 people had to die for Princess Iona to become queen. Her father, King Gawain, an aloof figure whose passing she would one day mourn, and her older sister, Lizen, whose grave she would gladly dance on should the occasion arise. Now, I don't normally like long sentences. I think the first line could have been the first sentence. Only 2 people had to die for Princess Iona to become queen. But it was a long sentence, and I'm intrigued. Why would she dance on her sister's grave? Like, we read here that she's a cruel sister, but like, specifically, what's she doing? So, interesting. Okay. Well, this is shaping up to be a pretty awesome July TBR. I'm going to spin the wheel. I'm going to say probably like 3 more times, and then I have a few other books that probably won't make it into the spins that I'll need to read for different things. So let's see here. Next up. Okay. Gifted. So, it takes forever for the thing to pop up. Gifted. I have been gifted I've been gifted 2 books on here. Actually 3 books. 3 books. So I was gifted Exile by the publisher here. I was gifted The World of Jeeves by my friend for my birthday. And then I was gifted, oh my goodness, this one's hefty, The Complete Sherlocks by Holly for my birthday. And I think the one that makes the most sense for me to pick is The Complete Sherlock Holmes, because there is one collection in here that I realized when I got it that I'd never read, the case book of Sherlock Holmes. So that itself is a short story collection, and that will work for being gifted, as well as I can read a short story collection for the Read Your Bookshelf challenge. So I think this looks huge, but the case book of Sherlock Holmes, how many pages is that actually? It's like 140 pages. It starts on page 1027. So it starts here. We got like that much of it left to read. So it looks bigger than it is. Yeah, now instantly my TBR looks overwhelming, but it's not as bad as it looks. I do really want to read The World of Jeeves, but my friend mentioned when she gifted it to me that I should take it slow when reading them, and I know there's like 34 stories. There's only 31 days in the month of July, and I feel like that might be pushing it too much. Okay, so 2 more spins, I think, at least. We'll see how many books I have then after that. I don't know why I'm like kind of scared and cringing because, oh, that's what? Emoji. Okay, here we go. Oh, I'm a little nervous, you guys. Some of these emojis are great. Well, they're all great. Some of them are just difficult, I'll say. So what I did is I told them to leave an emoji in the comments on this Patreon post, and I'm going to pick a random number, I think, because I didn't make a spinner wheel with all of these emojis. Okay, but I want to tell you what the emojis are. I think, okay, well, if I can figure them out. So I think we've got a bug, that's what that looks like, a cross, a dragon, specifically a globe on Africa, so specifically something African, a plane, a hat, a microphone, a castle, a flamingo. I was wondering what in the world I could pick for that. I think that's a giraffe, a shooting star. Then we got the swords crossed, and I think also a bow and arrow. So I'll do both of those. A teapot, looks like a tent in the woods, a fox, a queen, I think that's a mountain, a key, another dragon, broccoli. Like, what in the world? Rika's in the middle of writing a book right now. I'm like, can you please add broccoli and finish your book so I could read that one? Because what in the world would I pick for broccoli? That's gonna be hard. A candle and a tree. So I'm gonna quickly count how many that is, and we'll do a random number generator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Okay, that's 23, and there are 2 dragons. So, I mean, the odds for dragon are much higher than anything else. I'm hoping the odds for broccoli are not gonna happen. Sorry, Catherine, I don't know what I would do. Okay, 1 to 23, here we go. 21, that might be the broccoli. I'm gonna count backwards here. 23, 22, 21. What in the world do I pick for broccoli? Oh, okay, let me think. So we got food, we got vegetables, we got like vegetarian, cooking with green. I'm thinking. Okay, I don't know anything offhand. That is so funny that that popped up. Oh, if I get the key one, I see a key right here. Of course. Okay, this is actually kind of funny, but like, doesn't that look like that could be broccoli? That's a definite possibility. I'm keeping that one because I'm struggling. Okay, I'm just gonna move these other books here so they're all there. And it's green. And it looks like it could be food. That might be my pick. I'm trying to think if I have any books that have like a cook in them or someone that enjoys food a lot. But I feel like that's usually, in the books that I read, a very minor part of the book. So I wouldn't know about it until I started reading. I'm gonna look at the shelf behind me. The only other option I could think of is the Tarnished Garden, because it's got a garden. This is The Secret Garden retold in a fantastical way. I think these are my 2 options. I hope you don't feel like I'm cheating, Catherine, but like, I'm still, I can't believe that was the first one picked. That is hilarious. Oh my goodness, it would be so much funnier to be on your guys' side of the screen than this side right now. But I think this is the best. I think that actually looks like broccoli. I had no idea. That was just sticking out at me here. I'm gonna go with this. The book itself will have nothing to do with broccoli. That's not cheating, is it? Look at that. That looks decently like broccoli. I mean, it's not 100%, I get that. But that works, right? I don't know. So, 10 years ago, devastated by an ugly scandal, Brooke Martin fled the small town of Hayden to pursue a career as a stained glass artist. Oh, it's stained glass. Okay. Now Brooke has returned on business to discover that some things never change. Her spotted reputation remains. Tongue still wag, and that makes what should be her dream assignment tough. I don't really want to read more. Okay, so it's stained glass. That makes sense. Maybe it's stained glass with broccoli. I don't know. What would you guys have picked for the broccoli emoji? Like, do you have a book? Do you know of a book? Catherine, what were you thinking? Like, were you thinking about a book, or were you thinking just to make things difficult? I'm putting this on here. This is my pick. Okay, I think I had one more spin left since I said. Now I'm just like all thrown off. Nothing has come up twice yet, and I still haven't done the Patreon pick. But other than that, we've done all of them. So let's see what this one is. Well, I know it can't be broccoli, so I feel actually less nervous now. Another 5-star prediction? Is that where we're heading? Yeah, we're staying there. Okay, another 5-star prediction. Interesting. What would I predict would be a 5-star book? I put books on the cart here that I was excited to read, but I don't honestly think some of them are going to be 5-star reads. So I do know this is actually working out really well for my other things. A definite possibility would be a reread. I am planning on rereading Persuasion this month. I thought I grabbed it, but I actually didn't, for Jane Austen July. So that could be it, but I've read it, so I like already gave it 5 stars, right? A definite possibility would be A Midnight Dance. I've given a few of her books, of Joanna Davison Politano's books, 5 stars, and I've heard good things about this one. I think it has to do with ballet, and people even said that they don't enjoy ballet and they give the book 5 stars. So I could do that. I've been in a big fantasy mood, so I could do a fantasy book. I have 2 on here already. We're gonna go with this one. So I think this would be Victorian England. It says the best moments in dance are the unscripted ones. At their core, all theatre romances are tragedies. Ella Blythe knows this. Still, she cannot help but hope her own story may turn out different than most, and certainly different than the tragic story of the ghost of Craven Street Theatre. After a chance encounter with one of the ballet company's handsome dancers late one night, Ella is swept off her elegantly pointed toes. The dance they share and the promise he makes to her feels like a new beginning. Yet as she faces mounting challenges in the ever-shrinking ballet company, Ella cannot deny the uncanny feeling that her life is mirroring that of the ghostly ballerina. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not a ballet person, but I've heard good things, so maybe this will be a 5-star. I actually want to, so I have my Agatha Christie that I need to read. I have a short story collection, which is great. I have my Patreon of the month pick, which was Tex. I'm part of there's like a Christian booktuber group, and I have not done a lot of the books for the last year or so, but now that we're moved and settled, I wanted to join in again, and I thought that before they spun the wheel, and it was fantasy for this month, and I know it's supposed to be a Christian fiction book. Christian fiction fantasy, in my opinion, is an interesting one. I tend to think that, in my definition, that means the author is a Christian and light wins out over darkness. So I know that The Storyteller's Daughter, Victoria McCombs, this one fits that bill in my definition of what Christian fantasy is. It doesn't have to have allegory for me, so I'm going to use that for that. I've got Jane Austen at home for Jane Austen July. I may reread Persuasion, and I am going to try reading Lady Susan. I have this bind up that has Lady Susan, the Watsons, and Sanditon, as well as Northanger Abbey. Read Northanger Abbey. The other ones, I would like to read at least Lady Susan, I think. Is that the first one in here? Yeah, because it's told in letters, isn't it? So I'm gonna give that a try. And then, yeah, possibly Persuasion. But I had fun with the emoji thing, and I feel like there's pressure that is off of me now that the broccoli one has been chosen. We didn't do the Patreon pick where they pick a specific book for me yet, but I'll be okay with that for this time. And next time we can try again, see if that gets pulled up. So I'm going to do another random number generator from 1 to 23. We're gonna do another emoji pick. I want to have fun with it. There's less pressure. If 21 gets picked again, I'm not picking another broccoli book. We are just gonna retry and try to get a different number. So let's see what we get. Oh man, I can't believe it was broccoli. 12. Now which one was 12? 12. Okay, Lindsay did The Swords Crossing, which makes me think like medieval or fantasy or something of that sort, which I have a few of already, possibly. Like The Heir and the Spare, I'm assuming, is like that. Storyteller's Daughter, possibly that era. But does it hurt if we add another one? What was this one again? There's no swords on the cover. I don't know if that one would work. Oh, there's Exile. Does this have anything to do with like war? Possibly not. It doesn't say. I mean, we got a sword on the cover here. Half a king. I read the first chapter of this quite a while ago for a Patreon vlog, and I really enjoyed the first chapter. I don't know if I will end up finishing the book or if I will DNF it. This was like, I know Murphy really loves Joe Abercrombie. I love her channel. We don't have a whole lot of like overlap in our actual reading though. So will I like it? I'm not sure. This has to do, I actually don't remember the first chapter. I think the prince found out that he was going to be king in the first chapter. Is that right? I really don't remember. Well, doesn't matter. We're gonna give this a try. This will be my sword book. I'm pretty sure that's a sword, although what's with all the other spikes coming off of it? I'm not sure. Maybe I need to actually read the book to find out. So this ends up being a very large March TBR because of this book mostly. There's still quite a few books on here though, but I'm excited about all the books, so I feel like I could read them. I can always read them faster when I'm excited about them. Let me know if you guys are excited for me to read one of these, what you would have picked for the different emojis, and if you're excited about some more, I can't hold all these emoji type videos coming up. So the last one I did was reading books based on emojis. My patrons blindly chose which book I was going to read based on the emojis I gave them, and that was fun. So I kind of swapped it, I guess, this time a little bit, and I'm excited about this month. I hope you guys have a great July reading month planned, and hopefully we all enjoy what we're reading.